In this video, we are going to talk about 5 reasons why you can't really surrender to a relationship as a fearful avoidant. I am Pauline and I am so happy you are here because surrender in and of itself is like almost the complete opposite of what fearful avoidants have a tendency to do, and that is wanting control. So, why even would we talk about surrendering? Is that necessary? Does that mean I have to surrender to another person? That can mean so much harm can be done by a single person. I understand. I understand. Hold your fear brains. We are going to talk about this. First of all, surrendering. I think so many people have so many different associations with the word surrendering. Where it comes from is that um, when I was in the crash state of my fearful avoidant attachment style, I just noticed that I wanted control over everything. I wanted control over my feelings, over what Aryan did, over what was said, where we were going, just everything. And I remember laying in bed once, and this was sometime into my healing journey. So this definitely wasn't the first step. I don't think that would work. But I just remember thinking, what if I could just surrender? Like, what if I could just surrender to this relationship, surrender to love, and just let it flow? And that just gave me such um, a joyous feeling, which was surprising because I think prior to that, the word surrender would cause almost a panic. Um, but surrender just started seeming like something beautiful, like things could happen that you could not imagine because your imagination is based on the things that you've previously experienced or saw, and maybe surrender to what is can cause you to experience things that are beyond your imagination. And so I started kind of diving into this idea. I think it also had to do with book by Deepak Chopra. I think the English title is A Pathway to Love, if I'm right. And that talks about surrender too and how it leads to ecstasy. And I was just so intrigued by that idea. Up till that point, I had been trying to get to ecstasy by controlling everything. And looking back now, it is kind of funny that I would think that controlling everything and making it and wanting it to be perfect would lead me to ecstasy, because ecstasy is complete surrender of control, or at least that's needed. So that's why we're talking about surrender, because you might you might have that same desire or at least intrigue when it comes to ecstasy and just what is possible to experience and feel in a relationship. So surrender can definitely get you somewhere. And I'm not saying I'm in a state where I'm completely surrendered all the time, but all the times I have been able to surrender to the relationship, it has turned out to be so much better than I could have ever fixed or forced or imagined before. So that is why surrender is a beautiful thing. And now the reasons why it's hard for fearful avoidants to surrender. Um, and looking back, it was almost that I felt comfortable in the gray zone, is what I call it now, which means I was in a relationship, but I was not completely surrendered to the relationship. I was not fully into the relationship. So I was kind of like halfway in, halfway out, because I definitely was in the relationship and I was loyal. I wasn't cheating or anything. I was committed to the relationship in that sense. But I was having these intense doubts and just thoughts 24/7 of, is this the one? Is this right? Shouldn't I break up? Do I want to break up? Why would I want to break up? Am I not only with him because otherwise I would be alone? And just these constant thoughts. And so I was thinking about leaving the relationship, even though I wasn't fully serious about it. The thoughts were there constantly. And afterwards, looking back, I started seeing that as the gray zone. I never truly went for the relationship. I was in a state where I was in a relationship, so I wasn't alone, but I wasn't allowing myself to fully surrender to the relationship. And that is where a lot of fearful avoidants actually are when they do find a committed, loving, healthy relationship, is they kind of like move towards the edge of that relationship and have these intense doubts and have these ups and downs and pushing and pulling away and creating um, chaos and moments where you might break up and then come back together. So it's like you're always on the verge of, almost. So why do you do that? Why do you not surrender and allow ecstasy and allow love? I mean, it sounds amazing, right? Well, the first thing is what I already touched upon. Fearful avoidants have an absolute need usually for control. They need control, they want control. Obsessive compulsive disorder, which is, I think, the most extreme version of wanting control, is associated with, has a higher correlation with the fearful avoidant attachment style. So that just comes to show that a lot of fearful avoidance control is a theme within the fearful avoidant attachment style. And that comes from having probably a very unpredictable childhood environment. And so you just want to have control now. You just want to control all your external factors. I can talk for an hour about why you want that control. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below. I will make a separate video on that. But to surrender means to let go of control, which is just completely counter opposite to what you as a fearful avoidant tend to do, which is wanting to control everything around you, wanting to control your feelings, and wanting to control external factors. So that is a very obvious reason why you won't surrender, why it's very hard to surrender. And I'm saying very hard and can't and all these things, and you might think, oh, I'm doomed forever to not ever experience ecstasy. And obviously that's not true. You can heal the fearful avoidant attachment style, and that's actually not even a thing that will take years and years. Within a couple of months, you can already heal so much. So as you haven't healed the fearful avoidant attachment style, it is very hard to surrender. Then the second reason is that surrender to your fear brain means that you are not on, you are not paying attention, and you are missing things. So when you surrender to the relationship, your fear brain will kick into gear and just say, whoa, 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 hold up. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Are you sure that's good? Are you sure that's right? Are you sure that's gonna work? It just wants you to analyze everything and not miss anything. So it needs you to keep analyzing and to keep finding fault and to keep finding things that aren't right. And therefore you need to be on. So you can't be surrendering, because surrender means you are not on. It means complete relaxation, and we cannot do that. We cannot afford to do that right now. This is your fear brain speaking, obviously, and as you heal, you will notice that just kind of fades away, and it becomes very well possible to relax and to surrender and to have that peace and that relaxation. But your fear brain will right now probably not allow you to do that, because it wants you to have a perfect relationship. So it needs you to be on and analyzing, because you cannot surrender to the relationship until it is perfect. It has to be perfect, because, and this is the reasoning of your fear brain, because that will protect you from pain and hurt in yourself, being hurt, but also hurting others. So a lot of fearful avoidants are actually afraid of hurting others. And so one of the reasons why you want your relationship to be perfect and want to be 110% sure that this is the one is because you're so afraid that you will later on realize that this is not the one, and then you will have to break up, and then you will have to hurt them. And you don't want to do that, because you're not supposed or allowed to hurt others. Also, when something is perfect, it won't cause you any pain. So you won't be rejected, you won't be abandoned, it won't hurt your feelings. And so this kind of becomes like this fantasy world where when your relationship is perfect, when you've analyzed enough, when you've fixed all the things that are missing, when you fix all the things that aren't there or are there and are a problem, then it is perfect, and then you will be safe from pain forever the rest of your life. And especially in romantic relationships, this comes into play because we've been told through media and through movies that when you find the one, you will be happy forever, which is absolute utter bullshit. And so we keep finding and fighting to get to this place of perfection and being on and analyzing, all the while keeping ourselves from surrendering to the relationship where ecstasy, love, beautiful, intense feelings are found. So we are here on the surface, not allowing us ourselves to go deeper, seeing if this is right and if the future is going to be okay, and if in the past he did this and she did that, and was that okay, and what does that mean for the future. So we're constantly going on this line to the future, to the past, and at the surface, while surrendering means being in this moment and going deeper, just allowing yourself to go deeper and let go of control and just surrender and to the moment and to love and to whatever is here right now in this moment. That is where you'll find love. That is where you'll find all these amazing, amazing feelings that you are actually seeking, but you're so afraid of. So the reason your fear brain is keeping you from surrendering is because it wants the relationship to be perfect before you surrender, just to make sure that you will never be hurt. But that is not realistic, and it's not human. We are all human, living a human experience, and being human is messy. It's just what it is. Your emotions can be messy. People are not perfect. They will hurt you. They will do things inadvertently to hurt you. And you deal with that together, and you get out of that together. So searching for and fighting for a place where of perfection where you will never be hurt, you will keep fighting, and you will keep searching, and you will keep struggling, and you will keep healing, because sometimes healing can be almost like a disguise to where you actually want it to be perfect. And so you keep healing and healing and healing to get to this place of perfection. But what will help you so much more is, and will give you so much more, is surrendering to the relationship or to love, and then allowing all those feelings to be here, even if it's not perfect. It does not have to be perfect to be ecstatic, to be amazing. And one more thing about surrendering, I can totally see how you're thinking, well, surrender to another person, but that's scary because they can reject you, they can abandon you. And it's not surrender necessarily to another person, because then, yes, you would trigger that whole wanting them to be perfect again thing. It is surrendering to love. It is surrendering to this moment. It is surrendering to desire and to whatever that desire might be. It is surrendering to love. It is just surrendering to love. So you don't have to give up your power or give anything away. It is actually standing more in your power to surrender. And it just means that you are not in the relationship halfway. Like, you're in it, but you're not completely in it, because you're also comparing it to other relationships. You're comparing it to past relationships. You're having all these doubts and thinking, is this the one? Is this right? Is this right? That is just being halfway into the relationship. And anything done halfway will never give you maximum results, right? I mean, that's logical. If you only half-ass kind of do your work, you never expect that to bring magnificent results, right? So I think Will Smith actually had a quote on this: half loving just hurts. And I think that is true in a sense, because you never fully will experience the full experience of love if you only allow yourself to be in that gray zone. So there's a fifth reason. The last one is that it can be taken away. So a lot of fearful avoidants are afraid that their relationship, their partner, will be taken away, whether they abandon you, whether they are taken from you in whatever shape or form. Um, and so surrendering just sounds irresponsible, right? Because when you surrender and then they get taken away, that will hurt so much. So it's better to just kind of not give too much and not love them too much, because then um, it will be taken away, or it can be taken away, and it will hurt so much when it does. So the actual feeling of feeling in love can be quite uncomfortable when you're so scared of losing it, because you believe you're not worthy, because you believe you don't deserve it, because you believe it's too good to be true, and so it can't be true. um and so feeling in love can feel uncomfortable. And now when you think, yeah, but I have been in love before, um very much in love, this doesn't really count when you were in love with somebody that was not in love with you, or you weren't in a relationship with, because then there is nothing to lose. So you can have all these super intense feelings with somebody that within love that is unrequited, because you have nothing to lose. But once it really becomes a relationship, then for fearful avoidance, usually it's quite hard to surrender, because you're just so afraid of it being taken away and everything going wrong, and experiencing so much hurt and pain. So those are the 5 reasons. And I'm definitely not at a point where I can completely fully surrender, because I think that in and of itself is a beautiful spiritual journey almost. So it is just something that I'm excited about for the rest of my life. Like, there's always more where I can surrender. There's always a layer deeper that I can go. And so then love just becomes this beautiful adventure. But I do remember deciding that I was not gonna halfway do my relationships anymore. So I was gonna go for this relationship completely. And I think the doubts stopped not too long after that. And I had been healing for a long time. So it's not like that was a magic trick. But it did really help to say, okay, who is benefiting from this, from me, being halfway into the relationship in that gray zone. I'm not benefiting from it, because the doubts are driving me crazy, and Aryan is not benefiting from it because I'm like halfway out of the relationship, and he has to kind of work to keep me in the relationship. And I just wanted to experience what it was like to fully allow myself to experience love and experience ecstasy, and all those beautiful, beautiful things. So once I decided that, and once I started playing with that and allowing that, a lot came up, obviously. But it was very fulfilling to heal that, because it allowed me to go deeper so much faster. And I just remember regretting truly not doing that sooner. All those years, looking back now, all those years, those 5 or 6 years where I just had so many doubts. And at the same time, I could have just had so many wonderful experiences, not really worrying that much about what they meant or what it meant for the future. But that's just easier said than done, right? I mean, I could tell you that. And there's just a lot of fears and a lot of pain and a lot of trauma that's underlying that, and that it has a reason why you don't do that, why you don't surrender. So that is actually what we're doing in the online program, Healed and Happy. You heal the fearful avoidant attachment style so that you get to experience that ecstasy, that true relaxation, and just all the most beautiful things that love has to offer when you fully surrender to it. I so wish that for you. I so wish that for you. If you're interested in that, the link is in the description below. And let me know what you thought of this video and what you got out of it. I always am curious. As always, I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one.